Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Ryan Hanley Show, and today I want to introduce you to Justin Forsett, an NFL Pro Bowler turned entrepreneur who has an incredible story. His story alone, his origin story alone, isn't why I wanted to have him on the show. What I love about Justin is that he capitalizes every day and everything that he does on his superpower, and it has nothing to do with his athletic ability. I want to start with a tweet just because it's interesting to me. I'm a former athlete. I'm Division III college baseball player, maybe slightly different level, but I'm always interested in this kind of thing. And you sent out a tweet talking about the Oakland Coliseum. You said, if anyone wants to know what it feels like to fall on that dirt in the Oakland Coliseum, go outside right now, sprint as fast as you can in the middle of the street. Once you get up to full speed, jump as high as you can and belly flop on the pavement. I'm just interested, like, was it really that bad? Like, it just sounds terrible.
It is that bad, man. So after I sent that tweet out and it went viral, that tweet is like over 20,000 likes for that tweet. And so with that it's baseball field because the A's are still playing, and the football field, they're playing the Coliseum. So in the middle, like around a 40 yard line, it's grass, and then you have this huge chunk of like clay for the infield. Yeah. And what they do is, like, normally for a baseball game, because I played baseball in high school, normally a baseball game, they rake the sand, they water it, they make it soft. But in that Coliseum, they remove all of the extra dirt, all the extra, sand from the infield, and they dry it out. So it is super hard. It is like you can hear your cleats, like as if you were walking on concrete with your cleats on.
Wow.
And it is brutal. And people were sending me like photos of like Pete Rose diving into second base, like jumping up. And I'm like, man, it's not the same. If Pete Rose dived head first in this clay, like he would have got up with like most of his chest and face missing.
Yeah, I've heard the story. And players have talked about it for years how bad it is, and I guess that's obviously why they're leaving for Las Vegas, but or at least part of the reason why they're leaving for Las Vegas. But it's interesting to me that today, 2019, and so I was scrolling through all the comments, and it's just funny how people can't just give you that comment. Like, they've never been there, they've never experienced it. They're going to hammer on you with all these GIFs and pictures. I just thought that was so funny. Yeah. It's good that you're taking it in good nature, right?
Yeah, for sure. It was fun.
So, obviously, I have you on here, and I want to share your story with this audience because I think you've had a really interesting journey in your career, and I want to start kind of at the beginning of where you were drafted in the 7th round in the NFL draft, and I think baseball has 70 rounds or 100 rounds. I mean, it goes on forever. But in NFL, it's, if you get picked towards the end of that draft, a lot of those guys don't end up making it onto the actual 52-man roster, whatever it is. And and I've heard other interviews that you've given where you've talked about your preparation. And I'm really interested in both your mindset, like when you got drafted, and then like, when did you start to figure out that you were going to have to work, that much harder to kind of make your dream a reality? Talk me through that process, because it had to be, super, you had to go deep on that.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly all started from a young age, man. I was always limited, labeled, the underdog. So I was, had to fight for what I wanted. Nothing came easy for me. So I had to put in that sweat equity. I had to work hard. I had, they were telling me I was too short and too slow, too small, all these different type of things my entire life. So getting drafted in the 7th round at pick 233, just a few picks away from Mr. Irrelevant, like that was no different to me. I just had to keep my head down, stay focused, excel at what I could control, which was my attitude, my effort, and my preparation, and just kind of let the chips lay where they may, because that's what I was used to.
What do you think is different about that, though? So many people, I think, at 5'8", right, not prototypical size for an NFL running back, a lot of people would have just given up. Like, as soon as they heard the first coach or the first, parent in the stands or whoever say, man, like, you're probably just too small. Like, they would have believed that. They would have let that sink in, and obviously you didn't. So where do you think that comes from?
One, it was be simple because I did believe in my abilities. Like I believe that, I had something special within me. And then just where I came from, I wanted so much more from my life. It was something the thing that I was chasing was greater than myself. So I wanted something better for my family. I was at one point, living out of a motel with my dad and my mom and two brothers. There was times when I had to take baths with bottled waters. There was times when I had to do my homework by candlelight because we couldn't afford to pay bills. Like all those things I would think about in tough times, and those would motivate me and fuel me to keep pushing forward. I wasn't going to let anything stand in my way, not even critics, doubt from people around me, coaches, teachers, you name it. I was not going to be denied.
When you get to your very first practice or OTAs, are you invited to OTAs as a draft pick?
Yeah. So you can as an OTA 7-round pick, you go to OTAs and all those mini camps.
So you get there, like, is there immediately an established pecking order, or is kind of all the rookies grouped together? Like, how does that work? Like, are you fighting from day one, or do you get like from high school to college, you kind of get a rebirth, right? Like everything you did in high school is kind of reset. When you get to college, you get to kind of reestablish yourself in this new space. Is that the way it is in the NFL, or is there still that pecking order that's coming in?
Well, first, normally you get there with the rookies, so the veterans aren't even there yet. So you're just practicing, working out, and training with the rookies. And so everybody's in the same boat. And then you kind of get you up to speed, and then you have like your first real organized team activity, OTA, and you practicing with the team. And that was pretty cool. I mean, there is a pecking order when you see the starters going in, and I'm in a huddle with, a Matt Hasselbeck and Walter Jones, who's a Hall of Famer, and Julius Jones was the starting running back at the time, Nate Burleson, all those guys. I'm like, man, this is guys I watched on TV. It's kind of a surreal moment. It's like, man, you kind of made it. And I'm in a huddle getting a play call from Matt Hasselbeck was pretty insane for me. So that was definitely pecking order.
So tell me a little bit about like the first time. So I've interviewed other athletes. You're the first person I've ever talked to who's been in the NFL. And I was talking to a gentleman who used to play in the NHL. And I asked him, like, the first time you put one in the back of the net, like your rookie season, you pump one in the back, what was that like? And he's like, well, I had done it so many times in other leagues, like it wasn't that big a deal. Is that the same the first time you touch pay dirt in NFL? You bust through and you score a touchdown. Does it feel the same, or is that another level?
No, man, that was a pretty special moment for me to get into the end zone. I remember I was it was in Phoenix playing the Cardinals, and it was my second year in the NFL where I scored my first regular season touchdown, and somebody got hurt. The starting running back got hurt, so I got thrust into the lineup for the rest of the game as every down back, and broke through, and it was just like adrenaline rush, just all the emotions of, scoring your first touchdown. It's kind of like you finally made it and arrived in the NFL.
Well, and that was during a time when you still couldn't dance, right? So what'd you do?
So I was pretty simple, man. I always gave thanks, and it was like a prayer after I scored a touchdown. So
yeah. I like the dancing. I like that they brought it back a little bit. I think it's fun.
Yeah. No, it's great for the game, man. For a long time, the NFL stood for the not fun league. So I think that bringing it back brings better personality. The fans love it, keeps them engaged. So it's good for the sport.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right. Well, I think I could talk to you about the NFL side the whole time, but the thing that I find is the most intriguing about your story is not just the fact that you became a pro athlete, but that you transitioned your career from pro athlete to entrepreneur. And talk to me a little bit about have you always seen yourself as a business person? Has business always been on your mind? Or was there a time in your career when you started to say, hey, like, what am I going to do next after the NFL? And business might be a good option for me.
Well, my dad was an entrepreneur. We had a restaurant for a few years growing up in Florida. But I didn't know if it was going to be, kind of my lane once I retired. But once I got in the NFL, And I started seeing like those staggering statistics where we're saying like 80% of football players 2 years after they're done are either bankrupt, divorced, or depressed. I knew I didn't want to be in that number and in that statistic. And I would look around and I saw guys like, Magic Johnson at the time, Michael Jordan, Roger Staubach in Dallas. These guys like really transcended the game and used their sport as a stepping stool for their next career, and they excelled at it and they became moguls. And that's kind of what I wanted to do. I was kind of trying to find out, okay, how was I going to do it? Fortunately or unfortunately, I was fired a lot of times. I was fired 6 times during my career, so I had to think about the end a lot. And, I had this concept. We talk about shower pill with a couple of my college teammates. And I felt like, okay, this can be the avenue where I can be, a voice to those who were placed in the box, us being athletes, like just like play football or play a sport and just do that. And you're fine. And then you'll go broke. But I wanted much more. I wanted to be in that other number with like Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan. So I pursued the business angle and entrepreneurship.
Yeah. What does it feel like? Like, what goes through your mind when you hear that you've been released by an NFL team? Like, you said like you had been fired 6 times, and then you found you found a job with another team, moved throughout a few different teams. I was not your biggest fan when you were in Baltimore because you used to run all over my Bills. So I have to admit that. But obviously, like you had, very high moments, and then obviously you, at different times you were released. Like, what goes through your mind in that moment? Like, are you questioning if there's another job for you every time, or was there for a period you knew you'd be able to find something else?
Well, the first time I got fired, I felt like I had an opportunity to go somewhere else just because it was so early in my career. But there's many times where I didn't think I was going to have another opportunity to play in the NFL and live out my dream. I can think about that time in Jacksonville where I got fired there, and I was getting ready to transition out of football. I was getting ready to, do full-time business and, entrepreneur journey, start that up. And, out of nowhere, the Baltimore Ravens gave me a call, and then my career took a turn for the good, and was able to do some amazing things there in Baltimore. But yeah, there was definitely a lot of down times.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, that was your Pro Bowl season, 1,200 plus yards, scored 8 TDs on the ground or 8 TDs total. That was the year that I actually watched you live, just mow down my Bills team. But that's all good. We'll let that go. So. Okay. So you get to the point where you kind of feel like it is the end, right? And that was with the Denver Broncos, correct? That's when you were with the Broncos. You've decided that you're not going to be this statistic of former NFLer who ends up going broke, and business is going to be the next step. Like, tell me about where the shower pill came from. Like, how did you know this was the venture that was going to be this next step?
Well, I'll just give a little backstory on just the term shower pill. It came from the NFL locker room. There's a joke, inside joke, where there's pills for everything, but no pills for a shower. So when a guy skipped out on a shower after a training session, he said, "I'm taking a shower pill, bro. Don't judge me." So that was a joke, but it wasn't really a laughing matter inside the locker room because you could get things like staph and ringworm and skin infections. So we wanted to come up with a solution and, create an actual shower pill. Is what we did, which is a disposable washcloth and antibacterial towelette that removes sweat, dirt, and body odor after any interval of sweat. And so we had the idea, the concept, the locker room loved it. But when we knew we had something really special was when the feedback outside of the locker room came in, and it was, your soccer moms, the campers, the hikers, the fitness enthusiasts, the runners. They all embraced the product and made it their own and felt, found a home for it, so to speak. So we knew we had something special. We had like product market fit. People were buying the product. We're getting rave reviews. We were Amazon's choice product on Amazon platform, and over 500 reviews. And we're just like, okay, well, I guess the product works. And, we just need to pour some gas, more time, more money on it, more money in it. And, the sky's really the limit for us. So that's kind of when we knew we had something special and I can go in full time and kind of try to push this thing forward.
Yeah. So talk to me about the genesis of that. Cause there's a lot in there that I'd like to unpack around the business side of this, and I guess maybe just in making this transition as clean as possible, like when you're looking at the entrepreneur side of your life, what skills, what lessons, aspects of work or whatever, um, like from your NFL life to the entrepreneur life, what transitioned, what came with you, and you said, this is something that really helped me from this previous life that I lived, and what things maybe didn't transition over as well, or that you had to learn now that you've been an entrepreneur for a while.
For sure. So a lot transitions over, man. Transfer over to the entrepreneur life from football. I feel like I'm on the gridiron every day fighting. So work ethic, commitment, sacrifice, discipline, all those. It takes all those things, to be a great football player and to be a great businessman. And I use those skills that I had, just being consistent, persevering through tough times. I'm no stranger to that. So I fit in well in the entrepreneur lifestyle. Some of the things that I had to pick up, some of those skills like, understanding, P&Ls and your balance sheets and investors and raising capital. Those things didn't necessarily come natural to me. That I actually had to study, had to research. I spent some time an executive program at Harvard Business School this year for develop, even some more skills to help me in my business. Reaching out to people that have experience running companies, have great mentors around me, just so I can learn and be a sponge from was important. Just to get some of those other skills that I was lacking that I didn't get from the football field. So there was a lot there that I didn't have, but more so than not, a lot transitioned over from the football field.
Do you ever feel like, from my own athletic career, I felt like sometimes the business side of things like perseverance, and it's almost more difficult mentally, because when I was a baseball player, I knew I just need to go out and hit on the tee for an hour. Like, that's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to go do that. And when I could see results. And sometimes it feels like, and I'm just interested in your take in this, like, it almost feels like in business, a lot of times you can grind for a long time before you see any real development. And then it'll kind of snap forward sometimes if everything works out. Where when I was in my athletic career, I felt like I could see more incremental changes or more incremental improvements or adjustments day to day. A little tweak here, a little tweak there, some practice in a certain area, and I could start to see those improvements. And I know even in my own career in business, I have struggled at times with, like, man, I feel like I'm doing the work and it doesn't actually feel like I'm getting the reward that I should be getting. Did you ever find any of that or have similar experience?
Yeah, man. I found that, not only in, business, but also my playing career. So my breakout year in the NFL didn't come to my year 7. I was 29 years old. That was, 15 years of me doing the same things over and over again until I got a true breakthrough in my sport and in my, so I was no stranger to that. So I understand that just like in sports and in business, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So you just got to water. You just got to, plant. You just got to just make sure that you are excelling at those things that you can control on a daily basis and embrace the process. And if you do that and stay committed to it, I believe with consistency, you'll see that growth that you want, and you'll see your dreams come true, and those goals that you want to attain happen. So that's kind of where I look at it. I think it always is like, I may not see huge results today, but I understand that it's a marathon and not a sprint. So that's kind of my mindset.
Yeah. One of the things I thought was really interesting in preparing to talk to you today was your experience on Shark Tank. So
Yep.
I'd love you to talk through a little bit, just both, why you went on Shark Tank and what that experience was like, and then some of the things that you learned coming out the other side of it.
Man, Shark Tank was an amazing experience for me on so many levels. Not only, to get on the show, to be there knowing that, man, this is a way for us to get our product and brand out there to basically the world and on a big stage. but also getting there, not getting a deal, receiving the feedback that we got, mostly positive, but knowing that there was an area inside of our company where I could grow and we could grow in the financial part, and having a CFO and, have a better understanding of P&Ls, balance sheets, and all those things. And, that helped me, even though it didn't feel good at the time being rejected on national TV, it helped me grow as a businessman, and as a teammate within my company. So that experience, standing in front of, Mark Cuban and Barbara Cochran and Lori Grenier and Alex Rodriguez, who was the guest judge at the time, it really prepared me to be where I am at now, where, after that, we kind of had to take a step back as a company and think about, okay, where are the areas where we need to grow, where we need to tighten things up, and kind of prepared us where we went on to Good Morning America and crushed that, and then go from there into Target nationwide, where, we're in all 1,800 stores now and a few other distribution channels throughout the country. But if I didn't have that moment of rejection, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Did you get to spend any time with the judges outside of just that moment when you walked through the doors?
No, we didn't. It was in and out. We were the first group to pitch. And so they had a whole day left to get guys in.
Yeah. How much total time do you think you spent in the room with them? Because you only it's like minutes on the television.
Yeah. So we were over an hour in there talking, going back and forth, and they showed 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's interesting. So one of the things I thought was really interesting in kind of looking through that experience for you was after like the time when the show aired, you were pumping the show really hard, even though you knew that you hadn't you hadn't gotten a deal, and you got a little bit of flack for that, which I just talk me through your thought process. Cause I love that you did that. I think it's tremendous, and I understand why you did it, but one, what was your thought process? And two, when you do, someone in your position who does have public persona, when you get pushback on something, or you get flack, or you get haters, we were talking before about all the Pete Rose flop gifts that you got, how do you handle that emotionally?
Man, like I said, I grew up, no one expected me to be where I'm at today. No one expected, this 5'8", 190-pound running back to play 9 years in the NFL. So being rejected, being, laughed at or criticized is something that I've been used to. And I just ignore the noise, whether it's, good or bad. And after, reason why I pumped it, and people are like, man, why would you do that? You didn't get you didn't get a deal, and it just looked bad. So the reason was because, man, this is an opportunity for people to see us take a loss on TV, so to speak. We took a loss where we didn't get a deal. But I wanted them to be able to see that it's okay to fail. It's okay to take a loss as long as you learn from it. And I was determined and made a declaration to myself that this won't be the last time that the world sees me as an entrepreneur. I'm going to do everything I can within my power to make this company go. Yes, you saw me when I was at my lowest point as an entrepreneur, but just remember that I'm not dead yet, and I'm not done yet with this passion that I have in this company that I'm running. So I want people to see that it's okay to have some rejection and some setbacks. Is how you respond. And I think about that every day, and when I wake up, it pushes me and fuels me to go forward.
I'm so interested in that mindset that you have, because this to me feels like the crux of or at least a part of the success, how you've gotten to where you are in all the different aspects of your life, has been this particular mindset, like that you don't let these, I hate the word haters because I feel like it's so overplayed, but just any negativity, you don't let that slow you down, right? There's some sort of belief inside you that you just, this is what I believe. This is who I am. I'm going to keep pushing forward because I know where I want to be. Are there any, there might not be tactics, but are there any, I guess, ideas, mantras, concepts that maybe someone who doesn't handle it so well, right? Like when negativity comes into their life, they really let it drag them down. Is there anything you can share with them that that they can maybe hold in their head, or something that they can repeat, or maybe something that you've written or created that they can go back and watch to help them get through this? Because this to me feels like your superpower, if I'm pulling it out.
Well, man, yeah. For one, my faith is very important to me. So I realized that, a long time ago, that I'm on earth not only for myself and self-consumption, but that make a difference and have an impact in people's lives. So anytime I come across anything that, I see as a setback or adversity, I think about like the greater scheme of things and how I can use that to help people. So when adversity hits, I don't ask the question, why me? Or why do I always have to take the long road or the hard road? I ask the question, how? How can I use this to make me better? How can I use this to push my company forward? How can I use this to make me a better husband, a better father? You name it. So that's the kind of perspective that I take. And then realizing that, there's going to be a lot that's out of my control. So those things that I can control, excel at it. Attitude, effort, preparation. I say it over and over again. It's important. And then being accountable to what I call a huddle in life. So I have a group of people, a group of individuals that I trust, that I can be vulnerable with, that I can be transparent with, that kind of helps me and push me when times get rough. And a lot of times people want to isolate themselves when they get hard times, but that's when you really need to dig deep and dig deeper into your huddle, where you can get guidance and instruction, from those people that love you the most. So a combination of those things can allow me to have that, mental force.
So I love this be accountable to a huddle idea. It's for the non-football fans who may be listening to this, the huddle is the collection of guys on the offensive side of the ball before they share what the play is. And that just to give people some context, so I'm sure, I think most people understand the reference. The question I have from what you just said, and thank you for that. It really is, I think, what I was looking to get. How do you choose that huddle? Like for you, like you personally, when you're thinking about the people who are in that huddle with you, how do you choose them? Like what goes through your mind when you're thinking about who you want to be in that space with you?
People that add value, people with experience, people that are honest, people that are loyal, trustworthy, because you want to be in a place where it's actually a safe place, where you can be vulnerable, where you can vent, where you can really say what's on your mind and not really feel like you're going to be judged by the way you feel, whether good, bad, or indifferent. So I look for those people, and I always say that if you're the only person in your circle or huddle that adds value, then it's not a circle, it's a prison, and you need to find your way out, because you want people that are going to lift you up and add strength to the group, not stress. So that's kind of what I look for.
Yeah. So where, I want to bring us back to the shower pill. Where's the shower pill going from here, man? I mean, you're national syndication in Targets. I know you're in a lot of fitness centers, including Crunch, including Metabolic. And what's the next step for the shower pill? Do you have any other products coming out of the company? Like, talk to me a little bit about where the next steps in your entrepreneurial journey go.
Yeah, man, it's pretty cool with the shower pill, which, it simply means it's just that shower on the go, product. And we got the body wipes out in stores, gyms all over the country. And we actually have our face wipes coming out, which will be in Target all over the country here starting next week, where we're releasing that product. And we'll probably have another SKU coming out here soon before year ends. But yeah, just create more cool, dope products for the consumer that's on the go and enjoys fitness and, health, so that's kind of the direction we're headed.
Well, I'm very glad that our paths have crossed. One, because I got to spend this amount of time with you. Also, and this is, in full transparency to everyone listening at home, we sell the shower pill, the body wipe, in Metabolic Studios, and the reason is that it works. There's a lot of people that come in, they're moving, they get a metabolic workout and they want to get back to work, and that extra 10, 15 minutes that it takes to hit the shower, maybe they just don't have that time, or maybe they just want to clean up before they jump back in their car and head home for the family at the end of the day. And, in terms of everything that you'd want out of a wipe, that non-alcoholic, you don't want your skin to get dry. That's not what happens. You got a nice smell. Within no time, your clothes feel just like as if you hadn't used it, which isn't the case with other body wipes that I've used. So it's been a good product. And I'll tell you, not just a lot of people come in and buy them out of our shop who are going camping. You had said campers before. That's a huge one. Like people will come in, like clients will come in and buy a couple boxes and take them out. And we're going camping. So, hey man, I think you got something. I think it's incredible that you have been able to be such a shining example of someone who can take a professional career and transition it into an entrepreneurial journey. I think whether it's the NFL or just working for a large company, I don't think it necessarily has to be a pro athlete. I think what I love about your story is that you didn't let the first half of the book be the second half of the book. You kept writing that story. And I'm just very happy that you came on here and shared it with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, Ryan. It's my pleasure to be on.
Yeah. Just where's the best place for someone to connect with you? I'll have links up on the show notes and everything, but just one place for people to get at you. Yeah,
you can go to at J Forsett on all platforms or at Shirepin on all platforms. Find me there.
All right. Appreciate you, man.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.